Hello and welcome to Nintendo 24/7, the only show on the internet that is putting out a Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Wave 3 Booster Couse Pass review very late. This is due to many reasons, one of which being the fact that I wanted to get my holiday special out before the end of the December holidays, and then I also wanted to, I was also busy with schoolwork, so I just wanted to put this off. And I asked my followers, you on my community page, make sure to subscribe if you want to be part of new videos. We'll do more polls, see you guys can be a poll and see what videos we're going to be making, and you guys can have a say in what videos will be made, and we're going to be trying to do more of that, or I'm going to be trying to do more of that throughout 2023. So make sure you're subscribed so you can so you can get notified whenever I put something on the community page. But besides all of that, what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be reviewing every single track in the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Booster Couse Pass DLC Wave 3, and then we're going to be seeing how that wakes up at the end against the other two waves. I didn't do that for my first review of my first Mario Kart 8 Deluxe review, DLC review, because it was only 2, but now that we have 3, I think we can definitely see how it's going to stack up against the other waves. So with that said, let's get into it. So in the Rock Cup, we have London Route from Tour, we have GBA Blue Lake, we have Rock Mountain from Mario Kart 7 or Mario Kart 3DS, as Nintendo likes to refer to it as, and then to wrap it all off, we have Maple Treeway from Wii. So lighting off the high of our last tour track being Sydney Sprint from Tour as well, I was really expecting that these tour tracks are going to be the best of the best, especially because Sydney Sprint is one of my favorite tracks out of the entire DLC so far. And London Loop proceeded to be like, hey, your opinion is wrong. It's not London Loop's fault. It's just, I don't think that London had that great of an aesthetic, or what Nintendo did with it, to make it that good of a track. Sure, we see Big Ben and stuff, but I felt like most of the track just felt like, It felt most of it was just filler stuff, so we could get to like Big Ben, or the Castle Bridge, I think is what it's called. Editor Blake, tell me, say if I'm right or not. But point is that I just felt like that track had nothing to deliver compared to Sydney Sprint's like greatness. Sydney Sprint had so much cool stuff and was such great music that London Loop has music and an track, and just with an overall course, I guess you could say, leaving me just feeling after going that, and then going into the rest of the track. So honestly, I thought London Loop was just pretty much not that good. So next up, we had GBA Blue Lake, and honestly, this is probably my favorite, one of my favorite tracks in Wave 3, totally. I think what they were able to do with this GBA track, compared to Sky Garden, was so much better. It had underwater and anti-gravity, something that none of the tracks have had up until this point. Minus Sky High Sunday, but it's not a retro track, and also the entire track was an anti-gravity. That track is just kind of weird, honestly. I think it should be placed in its own category. But besides Sky High Sunday, I felt like this track was fantastic. It was able to do so much. It took this idea of Blue Lake from the GBA that didn't have any lake and add water. I know, revolutionary concept, guys, but it was really neat to be able to have an actual course made out of this GBA track. And it's no Cheeseland, it's no Ribbon Road, but let's be honest here, can we really top those two tracks? The music's great and those two tracks are great, but this isn't about those tracks, this is about GBA Blue Lake. And honestly, comparing GBA Blue Lake to those two tracks, it's not that good. But GBA Blue Lake on its own is phenomenal, and honestly, I'd say it's probably one of the best tracks in the entire Wave 3. It's probably number 6, but I feel like Wave 3 had such an amount of good tracks that it just kind of gets overshadowed by everything. So following GBA Blue Lake, we have Rock Mountain from Mario Kart 7. And this was one of the main tracks that I always saw in commercials for Mario Kart 7 that showed everything about the game, especially the gliding with that huge gliding section after the cave. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. Let's do the music first. And God, this track has some of the best music with the guitars. It sounds so good. But getting into the actual track itself, I really do enjoy driving around on the cliff with the glades. It's really a different Mario Kart aesthetic than we've seen in any track. And then you go through a little cave with the swoopers, which one time were costing me a race against my friend. but that's besides the point. And I really enjoy getting to drive through that. And then when you go down the ramp and then you glide into this huge forest section, it is one of the best parts of that entire track. And then getting to drive through the little falls as well is super neat. And then, best part is, we got anti-gravity in this track, which is fantastic. So then we get to go up the mountain in anti-gravity with the rocks falling down as you're going up boost panels. And this is honestly one of my favorite tracks besides the, the one that I'm going to call it until we actually get to it. That makes it that's one of the best tracks. Like, it's one of the best tracks, and it doesn't outshadow the one, which is my favorite, but I think this one is very good, and honestly doesn't deserve the hate that it gets from everyone in the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe and Nintendo communities. So rounding up the Rock Cup is Maple Treeway from Mario Kart Wii, and this is just as good of a track as I can remember. Let's get with the music first, and then let's get into the entire track. So the music has flutes, and honestly I think this fruity aesthetic really helps add to the entire atmosphere, and it sounds so good when you're driving through the forest, well, the trees. And they also gave this a fall aesthetic, which was kind of dope. I don't know if the Wii one did. I just remember everyone saying that it had a fall aesthetic now. Fact check me on this, but editor Blake. But let's get into the track. So I really enjoy. It's of course this Mario Kart Wii. Mario Kart Wii is the main one I played, so that's why I know this one really good. But I really do enjoy driving through the trees with all the item boxes and the leaves, and then you glide off, and then you get to go into that big tree and swoop around, and then you see the wiggles on top of the tree. That was always my favorite part whenever I played Mario Kart Wii as a kid. And then the best part of the track, they added the half pipes for Mario Kart Wii, and that is huge because that shows that they're willing to change stuff about physics in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe to fit other tracks, which means that now there are so many more tracks that can be added due to this one small change. However, we're getting ahead of ourselves because there's a lot more stuff that we need to get to about this track. So then you go through most of the stuff, and then you go to the little bridge inside the trees, and then you go through that little section, and they added a gliding ramp, which is dope. I feel like I'm forgetting a lot of the track here, but if you've played Mario Kart Wii, which I'm sure all of you have, and if you played the 8 Deluxe Mario Kart DLC, then I'm sure most of you have as well, then you know what I'm talking about. But they added a gliding ramp, which was super dope. But then you go, and then you go through little things, and then you're back at the beginning. Honestly, this is just as good as I can remember from Mario Kart Wii. And adding the half pipes is one of the best parts. And that'll come out later in another track, which we'll be getting to very soon. But I think that rounds up the Rock Cup pretty good. With one track, and then a bunch of other really good tracks, the Rock Cup is pretty solid, and honestly beats out probably one of the other tracks from the Wave 1, because Wave 1 was kind of stink, but that's besides the point. So in the Moon Cup, we have Bowling Byways from Tour, Peach Gardens from DS, Merry Mountain from Tour, but it counts as an original track. It's one of the weird ones. And then, of course, we have the one, which is Mario Kart 7's Rainbow Road. Let's get straight into this one, because this is a great cup. So the first track in the Moon Cup is Bowling Byways from Tour, and honestly, it's another track. I feel like the Tour tracks for this wave was so just mediocre compared to Sydney Sprint. And I'm sorry for coming back to Sydney Sprint, but like, it is the shining example of a fantastic Mario Kart Tour track. But besides Sydney Sprint, it's just, there's not much in the track to do. I feel like there's like the cars moving is pretty dope, getting the trick off the wumps and the wall, but overall, the track is just eh. Some turns are a little too short for my liking, and I don't like this track. I love Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and I love all the tracks in it. This is probably one of my least favorite ones. But the music, which I loved from Tour, even though I never played Tour, but I heard about Bowling Byways' music, it got butchered in the jump to HD. It's not that good. I really enjoy the Tour track, the Tour variant, so much more. And I feel like this entire track, sorry for stuttering, this entire track is just kind of eh, and the Tour version is probably the superior version, minus the fact that it's not in HD. So the following one of the most tracks in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is Peach Gardens from DS, and honestly, I really like this one. It's pretty soothing environment, and honestly, I really enjoy it. So getting to race through the gardens and like trying to get around the chomps and going through the hedges is super cool. And I like getting to see the huge hedge like statue things. I don't know if they have a specific name, but getting to race around them and then getting around the chomps as well and the garden is super cool. And then getting to drift into the castle like backyard like patio is super cool, and getting to race around the chomps. But what really tops this track is the all variant. So same with in Cowboy Desert and Mario Kart and the Wave 2 is the fact that it has a completely different last lap. This one's just a last lap. The other one was the last 2 laps, but that's besides the point. So what's really cool about this one is that you get to race the entire track backwards. You get to go into a glider ramp, which means you can even see the giant hedge statues more. Honestly, I feel like the all variant is just kind of but it's really cool and it makes this track stand out from any other of the retro tracks in this package. And also, the music in this track, it's really good. I really enjoy it a lot. And honestly, this really does bring up for the failure that London Loop made me feel. So following Peach Gardens from DS is Merry Mountain from Tour. And it's one of the tracks that Mario Kart 8 Deluxe says is original to its game, but it's not. It really comes from Tour. And honestly, I don't think... when I first saw it, I was like, I won't like it. I love this track. I'm not the biggest for Christmas levels in video games, but I feel like this does it so well. I really like getting to race on the railroad tracks and then climbing up the mountain. I think it also looks super good as well. And driving up it and seeing toads, and then after you get halfway up, you see Christmas toads is super cool. And then driving on the snowy part, and then like that huge jump, and then you go into an anti-grav section, I'm pretty sure. Super, super cool. And then it has a half pipe. And I don't remember how I said in Maple Treeway was going to be important later. It's important now. It's got a half pipe. It does the whole anti-gravity thing where it like flips your car into anti-gravity while you go up it, and then you come down, and then you're not in anti-gravity. Well, in this case, you are in anti-gravity, but that's besides the point. Again, but you get to race down the track, and then in the last 2 laps, I'm pretty sure there's a glider ramp as well, which is honestly super cool. I really like this track, and I think it's a fitting end to the originals in Mario Kart Tour. The other one being Ninja Hideaway, which was my favorite from 2021. So finishing up the Moon Cup in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is Mario Kart 7's Rainbow Road. This track needs no introduction, as everyone says it's the best Rainbow Road. And now I can see it. I never played Mario Kart 7, so all the 7 tracks are super new to me, and I can see why people love this track. It looks super good on the Switch, but let's just get that out of the way. The music, it sounds like an adventure. It's super good, and it's really better, and it's so good on the Switch. Let's get that one out of the way. Let's get onto the track. You drive around planets, and you get to go on a Rainbow Road that's like wavy and doesn't have much help, but it also has a lot of help as well. I meant broad rails. And then after you're drifting around some planets, you go into this like weird bouncy mushroom, which is weird that it's in space, but I mean, I can't complain. It's Mario. It's the best Rainbow Road. I can accept one little problem with it. And then you're driving around more, and then you fly and you land on Saturn's wings. Going on the Saturn's wings is so cool, and I never thought that it would work that well in a Mario Kart track. Then you go into a wavy road, which reminds me a lot of the one in Mario Kart Wii's Rainbow Road. And then you get to drive on a planet, and you see a spaceship. There's a bunch of chain chomps bouncing around, and you're on anti-gravity. You can tell by the way I'm talking about this that I love this track. And then after you go through that, then you go out into the last lap, which is like, has these weird boost panels as well. It's kind of strange, but it's whatever. And you go into this weird tunnel with like boost panels, and oh, it's so good. And then there's like lighting lamps, and then a boost at the end, and you shoot tricks and stuff. This track is so good, and honestly, if you can play one Mario Kart track for the rest of your life, pick this one. It's a 3-section track, which means it's very long. But I also think that 3-section tracks can do a lot more with telling a story, and I think that this does a great job at telling a story of it being a super good adventure. Rounding off one of the best cups in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and the Booster Couse Pass as well. So how does this one stack up against the rest of the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Booster Couse Pass waves? This is honestly probably the best wave. am really torn by saying it's the best wave because I really enjoyed Wave 2, but that could just be bias, but this could also just be recently biased as well. We can all agree that Wave 1 is the most Wave 2 had Waluigi Pinball, and this wave had Rainbow Road from Mario Kart 7, and I just feel like, in a way, Mario Kart 7's Rainbow Road just outweighs Waluigi Pinball in so many ways. I love Wave 2 and how it changed up, what we can all how we can all think about this wave after what Wave 1 did to make us think that this entire, DLC was going to be super bad. But I think Wave 3 did such a good job at expanding upon the ideas that Wave 2 had, which is why I think this is probably the best wave. And honestly, I'm going to say, if you haven't picked up the DLC yet, pick it up. I love Wave 3, and honestly, it's probably one of the best track collections and deals you can get in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe and on any Mario Kart game ever. So with all that said, thank you so much for watching my late review of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe's Booster Couse Pass Wave 3. That is a mouthful, can I say. But thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like it, and if you liked me, make sure to subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next video, which is pretty sure is going to be a tier list video, because we haven't seen one of those in a while. But make sure to stay tuned and subscribe with notifications if you want to be notified when the new tier list video comes out. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.